I am basically joining you today a little bit later after I had done. I did a very quick response straight after the game about Arsenal versus Liverpool, and Liverpool was a very interesting game, to be honest, because I think the team played really well, and it was not too bad of a game overall. Um, so anyway, I think the game started really well, even though the lineup was not the right lineup, right? I think the lineup, excuse me, my nostrils and my sinuses are acting out. And yeah, I just wanted to get on here on the live again and just talk a little bit more with a little bit more, how do I say, calmness. And I listened broadly as well to other people's reaction to what happened at the game. And yeah, I I think I still hold the opinions I did share as far as like what the communication was from Arteta by playing the lineup that he did. Gary Neville called it, excuse me, he called it intent. And I'm loath to say I agree with him. I think Arsenal didn't play badly. In fact, there were a lot of really good performances um, from this Arsenal team. I'll talk about a few of them, and there will be even others that I won't mention that played well, if I'm being honest, because I think it was a decent team performance, and the players who were selected played like they have been, including someone like Martinelli, who for me was not impressive today. But like he played at a level that I thought was very Martinelli-esque, because dude is, in my view, he's basically plateaued. I won't talk too much about him today because, like, I think, there'll be a lot of time to talk about Martinelli. But yeah, the issue, I guess, was what I was speaking of. Beginning the game, I looked at the lineup and I immediately jumped on the live and I was like, guys, the manager here is communicating a lot to his players without really communicating a lot. In terms of like, you can send messages, like subliminal messaging to your team by who you play, like, who you put into the starting 11. And I know it's not about starting 11s. I really don't believe about like, that how you start the game is how you're going to finish the game. However, I do think this early on in your project, you have to give your players a degree of confidence. And I think the lineup he went with, first of all, didn't scare Liverpool. If I'm in the Liverpool dressing room, is what I said beginning before the game started. I said, if I'm in the Liverpool dressing room and I see that Arsenal lineup and I'm like, no Odegaard, no Eze, we know Saka is out, we know Havertz is out. If I'm Van Dijk and Konate, I'm like, yeah, okay. I think we got this. And not that they would be afraid if it was Saka and Odegaard and Eze, but it's a different assignment, and you can normally tell, okay, what kind of day it's going to be based on who the other team has got in their lineup. And unfortunately, we went with a bit more conservative, kind of like workman-like midfield. And we had basically Martinelli, who for me is a left winger who gets praised more for his defensive work rather than what he does on the ball. or when we have the ball. Um, Liverpool, I don't want to discredit them. They're a good team, but for us to have played the way we did in terms of like the approach that we took going into that game, we went in there with some little bro mentality. We were like the little brother, and I think we've earned the right to go there with a bit more cheek, with a bit more arrogance, a bit more cockiness, and we didn't flex at all. Like, it was by the time we started making those changes, the game had kind of like developed into a pattern of stalemate kind of vibe. It was a kind of a game where the players were not. I don't know. We didn't take, the word is bravery. I think we didn't show the kind of bravery that is required to go and earn a win at that stadium. And I don't think we have to be perfect. Like in Manchester United, for example, we were not brave, and we did a set piece, and we got our goal. We defended well. We got out of there. Boom, good. Today, we defended well. We played well. Like, Raya wasn't even really that busy, but no was Allison. I also think the game was even Stevens, but ironically, we lost on a set piece. I want to say Mikel could have maybe done a bit better with, after not playing from the start with his best attacking players, he could have maybe brought them on a little sooner. I don't know if maybe he was calculating the injury to Saliba from the beginning. That meant also Arsenal now had two more windows that they could have made a substitution. And that's a bit tough. When you lose a player within the first 5 minutes of the game, and he's one of your top 2 to 3 players in the team, in the first 11, in William Saliba. And the loss of Saliba was a blow, maybe psychologically, but I don't think Mosquera coming on is what made us lose the game, because Mosquera was actually one of the brighter performances of the day. I think Martinelli is clearly a guy that's low on confidence, and I don't know now how we resuscitate him. Maybe Arteta plays him as a second striker, when we are playing in certain game states, when we need to play with two up front. Maybe he can play next to Gyökeres and build his confidence that way. And or we can sell him. I don't think he's going to be sold. I just think something needs to be done to help this kid. He's struggling. He's really struggling. He's more of a defensive option than he is an offensive option. And with Eze coming on, whenever Saka comes back, it's going to be tough for him to get minutes, especially as Leandro Trossard also gets fitter and Kai Havertz gets fitter. It might be hard for Martinelli for a while to get into the team. And this brings me to the bright spots, if I'm being honest. Mosquera was one of the bright spots. Of course, it's unfortunate that we had to see him today, because that meant, and we had an injury to Saliba. But Christian Mosquera, or Christian Mosquera, showed that he can be counted on. And so good on the ball, so calm in the tackle. He hasn't seen a tackle that he doesn't like. It looks like he can handle himself one-on-one. He can make himself available to get the ball, and we're learning about him live in front of our own eyes, because it's a very new player. I said earlier in one of my short videos during the preseason that this kid is going to be one of the best signings we've made this season. or this window. And I know it's only just one game at Anfield and then some minutes at right back, earlier at Old Trafford and things like that, and some preseason games. So the tape on him is not, for me anyway, and I don't have an extensive amount of tape that I've seen on him, but I do think the kid is a stud. And in him, we found a player there, due to these difficult circumstances. Calafiori, hope long may his health continue, and is about he's about to go and play for Italy. Every time he went to Italy, Italy's camps last year, that's when he got injured. And so I hope that this time he either pulls out with the fake injury, or if he plays, hopefully he stays healthy. And I also want to shout out Noni Madweke, who I think was the best attacking option for Arsenal today. Like, he was the best threat that we had in that front three, front six positions. And I was actually quite livid when I saw Arteta pull him for Max Dowman. I didn't think he was the guy we should have pulled. I thought we should have gone for a different player in terms of like pulling out from the game. We could have pulled out Victor Gyökeres. We could have pulled out a defensive player, maybe. We can have both Noni and Dowman as well as Victor if you wanted to keep him. Because we were chasing the game. What's the difference between 1-0 or 2-0, you know? Because it was only in the 89th minutes that Max Dowman came on to the game. So I think there's a lot to be positive about. We were not outplayed. Liverpool are always good for a goal in any game. So it's a dangerous strategy, excuse me. It's a dangerous strategy to play them by trying to keep it tight and then try to do a smash and grab kind of job on them. I think Mosquera, Calafiori, and Madweke, those are players we didn't have last year. I know Calafiori was there, but like he hardly played. And all three of them are going to be getting some game time over the next few weeks when the club season resumes, because Saliba might still be out after the international break. Fingers crossed he isn't, but he might be out. And if Ben White continues to struggle with injury, Mosquera will get minutes at right back probably, because Timber, again, he's having to play big minutes, and that's not going to be good. So I think those three definitely good players like for Arsenal. Martin Zubimendi, it's not a surprise. We've talked about him ad nauseum. Declan Rice, he's starting to play as well, like a different role for Arsenal. It suits him better to play deeper, to take care of things from deep, and then carry the ball through the channel, through the phases of the pitch. His passing is decent, and he gives us the security we need, which is why I think, like, instead of Merino, it's done now. And I don't think Merino played badly, but I think moving forward, I think, yeah, we need to have a proper 10 playing in games. It has to be that if Odegaard can't play, you're playing Ethan or you're playing Eze in the 10. Merino should play in one of the deeper positions, not instead of Odegaard. He should play as a guy that supplements in the Rice, maybe his Zubimendi role. Excuse me. But yeah, I don't know what you guys think about that, but I would like to hear your thoughts. And I look forward to talking some more as the season progresses about that, to see how that one unfolds, how Arteta solves the problem with all these players that he has. And yeah, 70th minute was a little late probably for the subs to come on, Martin Odegaard and Eze, but that's when they came on. The substitution of Odegaard and Eze came on at 70th minute, and only then did we concede a goal. We conceded like, late in the game after they came on. So Arteta might feel like the team he started with was the right team because they kept it at 0-0, even though there were a few dodgy moments where we made some loose passes and Liverpool were able to get a high turnover that they couldn't convert. But yeah, Saliba's injury is probably one of the biggest disappointments as well of this. I know that the defeat itself is disappointing, but losing Saliba to an injury means Arsenal have another key player now in the treatment room, and that list is getting bigger. You have Kai Havertz there, Norgard. I know he's not the biggest of our big players, but like Norgard, Saka, Ben White, Odegaard was not fit, but at least he was able to travel, and now you add Saliba to that list. The injury concerns at Arsenal are seemingly here to stay. We were hoping that new season vibes were going to help, but it doesn't help so far. Anyway, guys, I am going to be putting out content throughout the international break, and yeah, enjoy the club season break, and hopefully, if your country is playing, you can enjoy a victory. But yeah, cheers.